Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 24 of Direwolf20's Age of Engineering series. How's it going, everybody? Hopefully you guys paid attention last episode because I did a bunch of cool stuff. I upgraded our power gen quite a bit, as a matter of fact. Upgraded, thank you very much. So we've got biogenerators producing 32 EU per tick. We've got 6 of them, which we could even have a few more if we really wanted to. As you can see, we've got a pretty nice backstuffing of ethanol in here, which means that we're producing more than we're using, which is awesome. And we've got plenty of biomass, which means we're producing more than we're using. Whenever you have a backlog of stuff, it means you're producing more than you're using, and that's usually pretty cool. Upstairs, how's my sapling situation? Sapling situation, on the other hand, is not in a situation where we're producing more than we're using. We are out of saplings, and that's a shame. So we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do about that. We could either expand this farm to be larger by throwing an octadic capacitor in there, which is what we did plan the sizing for, so it should fit just fine. It'll just bump the farm out to here, so it'll basically give you one extra on all sides. So I mean that should give you a larger footprint. We could also throw some fertilizer or bone meal in there, and that would help to speed up production of saplings. So that's... But I think the goal here for me, or at least the hope, is that pretty soon we'll have a backstuffing of ethanol in here, which will have a backstuff of biomass, which will slow down the usage of saplings. But at 32 EU per tick times 6, that's coming out to 192 EU per tick income, which is pretty spiffy. Today, I'd like to use a bunch of that. Well, not all at once, but I want to take advantage of the fact that we have more EU income, and I'd like to start speeding up some of my machines. And in order to speed up my machines, what I'd like to do, probably, is start working towards overclockers. And overclockers are great because they overclock your machines and make them run faster. In order for them to be made, though, we're going to need to get ourselves some coolant. And coolant, if the recipe hasn't been changed, which, oh goodness, I hope it hasn't, because coolant never really looks up too well in JEI, is made using a bunch of lapis and some water. It's 8 lapis to 1 water. And that'll get you a single thing of coolant. So if you do the math on this, we're going to need a lot of lapis. The other option, though, is to use distilled water. And in that case, you only need 1 lapis per distilled water bucket. Getting distilled water, there's 2 ways to do it. You can get a solar distillery, which I've done quite a few times in my playthroughs, and they are slow. It's like 1 millibucket a second. So like it takes like 1 billion years to get any serious amount of water, distilled water that is. The other option is to boil steam in a steam boiler and then condense it using a condenser, and that's the method we're going to go about. So we basically, what we're going to need to do this is we're going to need a handful of things. So first off, we're going to need a steam boiler. The steam boiler here is made like so. And hopefully we're getting progress on most of the stuff that we're going to need for this. You can tell that I've been doing a little bit of prep for you guys to get this up and running. So that for the steam boiler, and we'll need one of these. We're going to get 1 for now, but we're going to need more later. And that. So that's your steam boiler. So let's go downstairs and map it out. So what we're going to have to get this running is we're going to have a steam boiler with probably a heater, maybe on top of it. Might not be a bad idea. How much EU per tick can copper cables handle? Copper's 128, right? So yeah, we can put right on top the boiler. We're going to want to pump water in from the bottom. So that'll be this torch here. Will represent water being pumped up from the bottom. And then we're basically going to pipe water in. We're going to heat it up with a heater. We're going to boil it. And then we're going to condense it. And the condenser will give us some distilled water, which we can then pipe up into what's going to eventually be up there, which will be something to make the stuff. Cool. So if that's the layout, then let's get our steam boiler placed there. So the steam boiler itself doesn't need any power. What it needs is water and heat. There's 2 ways to generate enough heat. You need, for every 1 millibucket of water that you want to produce per tick. Water into steam. And you get 100 millibuckets of steam per 1 millibucket of water. You need 100 heat units. There's 2 heat exchangers in Industrial Cat that can handle 100 heat units per tick. The electric heater, which is the way we're going to go, and it uses 100 RF a tick to handle this. So it's a lot of power, but we should be able to handle it. So that's cool, right? The other option is the liquid heat exchanger, which I was gonna use until I saw the recipe for it. This, you can just put lava in and it'll produce heat. And hey, that's cool. Nope, because it requires 4 iridium per liquid heat exchanger. So big fat nope on that one. Ain't gonna happen. Oh well, we'll live, is pretty much what it comes down to. So the next thing we need then is a heat exchanger. The electric heater. So for that, we're going to need another one of you. And we're also going to need another one of you. And I got so many of these copper plates before I realized what I needed. We're going to need an electronic circuit. And we're going to need a rechargeable battery. Those shouldn't be too big of a deal. In fact, I should mostly have what I need for that. So that's cool. I think I'm going to need... While I'm here, I might as well make 2 of these. So let's get 2 electronic circuits. Boom. And we're going to need a couple batteries. So I'm going to need the tin. So I think just 1 battery for now actually would be sufficient. So that's cool. But that is going to make me need to roll out 2 more of you while I'm waiting. Then we should be good to make the heater. Neat. Okay, cool. So we pop down here, and the heater has an output face just like your MFEs, and the same function now exists. If you shift right click a side, it'll face the opposite direction. So the heat is being pointed into the steam boiler. Now, for every 10 heat units you want, you're going to need a coil. So I'm going to need a lot more copper cables. Like a lot more. I was totally out of copper by the end of last episode, but luckily I went mining between episodes and got more resources. So we should be cool there. So let's get like... If I got 21 of you and put you in rolling mode, you should be good to go. And then while I'm here, I'm going to pop outside and use up the last of this. Really? Was that it? I only had 1 use left on that thing? Oh well. That's cool. Surprised me. Alright, so you have a lot of rolling to do. While I'm waiting for that, let's get a condenser. Because that's the next stage of this thing. So we're going to need universal fluid cells, which is why I needed the tin. See, I had a lot of this prepared ahead of time. We're also going to need an electronic circuit, which I made ahead of time, some iron casings. We're going to need 3, and machine casing. So you and machine casing, you will get me a condenser after I get 4 glass panes. So you guys and you guys. Nice, condenser. So the nice thing about this is the condenser and the electric heater will or the steam boiler will automatically like work with each other. So you pop this dude down and he'll just immediately start accepting steam as soon as we start producing it, which shouldn't be too far off. Let's get a handful of you and dire wire this up a little bit. Does that sound good? Now, I'm probably... Well, we'll do this. We'll be fine. We're probably going to wind up having... Right here is where I'm going to have my thing that's going to make the coolant that I need. So for now we'll stick with this, but we'll probably, what I'm probably going to really need is to pipe up through the back. We're going to have to pipe liquid up, and that liquid is going to be what I need. It'll be the distilled water. So distilled water is going to be piped up to behind that machine. So that's pretty cool. So the condenser will run by itself without any power or any other items added, but it's we'll see in a minute that it's not fast enough to handle all the steam that the steam boiler is producing. And as such, we can manage that a little bit, and it's not too hard to manage, but he will need a touch of power. So in fact, what I could probably do, just to save a little bit on the dire wiring, and Rorax would be so proud of me. No, she wouldn't, I know. She'd be like, Dire, it still looks terrible. But at least you're trying. That's what Rorax would say. At least you're trying. So that should be close to the amount of these doohickeys that I need. So we're going to need coils. We're going to need 10 of them. It's not those. It's these. Cool. So you'll note that when I put the 8 in here, in the heater, boom, it's now producing 80 heat units per tick. And this thing's going to start heating up. Nice. We could get a reservoir. Didn't we have a water thingy over here? I'm pretty sure we did. So if I wanted to, let's go get some fluid conduits. I might have a few, and I'm going to want more. So let's get some of you. Let's get some quartz cooked up. Let's do like 32 quartz. 33? 32, I think is what we're going to want. Wait, isn't it divisible by 12? So 36 should actually be pretty cool. I'm going to throw you into this mode. And we're going to pop that in there. Well, let's get you to not do this, please. Cool. That should be good. And that'll get me a decent amount of fluid conduits that I can use to pipe the water from the existing reservoir that I have in the basement there over to that thingy-mabobber. And that'll be cool. Boy, do I have a lot of junk in my inventory. I gotta clean it out. Okay, so you're gonna need water really soon. Luckily, that's not a terribly hard thing to get because I've got a reservoir already. So let's do this. Would have been smart to actually craft the conduits that I need, but who said I was smart? So we have a staff of traveling for when I dire dirt. So you need to basically come out here. You know what I could do, just to make this a little bit nicer looking? I believe it's too deeper. There. So now you're going to start producing steam. So water's in, heat's in. I just have to adjust these numbers. So this is 1 millibucket per tick. This is how much water is being converted. For every 1 millibucket per tick of water, you will get 100 millibuckets per tick of steam. We also have to put bars in. No idea what this value means. All I know is you need 221 if you're making superheated steam. That's the only thing I know about this. That's it. I know nothing else about what this means. If we gave it another 100 millibuckets per tick of heat, we'd be able to produce twice as much steam, so we'd bump this up to 2. So you can see we're not able to handle it now because we don't have enough heat going in. That's why it just started to flicker a little bit. But we're getting there. We are getting there. So as soon as I get you what you need, which is just a smidge more copper, I'm at 10, and I'm going to need 16, so one more set. So you guys with this, and then we'll see this will no longer go from flickering as soon as I do this. Now this is, of course, using 100 EU per tick, so it's going to get these guys running again a little bit, probably. But that's okay. That's okay. You are what? Oh yeah, tank full. Nice. We have backlogging. That's cool. That's really cool. Also, mental note, got to do this automatically at some point. But you can see we're filling up with steam now, so that's good. And we've got a ton of distilled water. So let's get a tank for that distilled water. Tank. I should maybe have this goes in here. Clear glass. Now one thing, yep, explosions are normal. So here's what I'm gonna do. Can I give you a redstone signal and turn you off? I have a couple ways to handle this if I need to, if this doesn't work. Does that, like, stop you from producing steam in any way? So yeah, we are producing more steam than we can manage. So to fix this, we need a heat vent. Which I don't think is too bad, right? Some iron, 2 more coils, some tin item casings. Heat vents aren't terrible. 12, 15, 18. That should be good for the 2 coils I need for the heat vent. And then we're going to need, we've got the iron plates. We're going to need 4 bars. It's kind of where I keep the iron bars that I need. And 2 tin item casings. So explosions are normal when you're producing more steam than you can handle, pretty much. So you into here. You're getting there? Towards being almost done? How are you doing? So yeah, see, we're kind of maxed out on steam. You're not responding to a redstone signal, which is great. I don't suppose you would respond to a redstone signal. Nope. So I've got an even better plan on how to turn this on and off. As soon as I make my heat vent to manage this. So you, and you, which means I can now get one of these. I forgot the extra iron. Which means I can get one of those. Now, because I'm using a heat vent, he does need a small amount of power, but it's like 2 EU per tick. But notice how it's much faster now, and we're draining steam out. And we're producing distilled water at a pretty good rate. Liquid monitor. So you're going to need a machine frame. That's one way to measure. Will a comparator work? You think that would work? Would a comparator, by chance, I need to read the amount of liquid inside the tank. So does a comparator work for that? He totally does. Sweet. Okay. Cool. The draconic potentiometer only needs a little piece of draconium dust, which I've gotten. Boink. So let's get so that's the comparator. So let's get another comparator. Yoink. And we're also going to want draconium dust. So for you, comparator. I'm assuming there's a lot of recipes here. There it is. There's a comparator. So that's good. And then we're going to want one of you. So we're going to need a No, not that. We want this one. Stone brick slab. I can handle that. The potentiometer is cool because it outputs a steady redstone signal, which is great for measuring when something's totally full. So what I'm going to want to do then is math this up behind it. So let's clear up back here and get ready to do some... Do we have Super Circuit Maker in this pack? So Super Circuit Maker would work too, but this is such a simple circuit that I'm just going to build it out like normal. So this should be straightforward enough to do. So we want a comparator, which is currently giving a redstone signal of 8. But we want to feed that into a subtractor. So that's 8. And if I put this here, see how that's going down? So it's 8 minus 7 equals 1. And then as this fills up more, he's going to be like good to go, right? So what I want to do from there is get a redstone conduit, and I want an EU splitter cable. So for that, I'm going to need iron, in this mode. That should be good. We're going to need a little bit of rubber, we're going to need a couple of levers, and we're going to need a couple pieces of redstone, so we should be good. So if I did that, we'd be cool. And that should be doable. So this is a neat little tool. Check this out. If I put this here, and put this here, power's flowing in. If I give it a redstone signal, yoink, cable's disconnected, power's lost, no more producing of anything. Sweet. Hey, we need to produce more. Boom, turn the lever off. Cool. So basically, when you receive a redstone signal, I want you to turn off the system. Well, that's going to produce a redstone signal when we have enough distilled water, right? So all we got to do is do this and set him to strong signal, and he may or may not work, but we'll find out really fast. Nice. Cool. So you just cut the power because we've got enough. Now I bump this up to 12. You're no longer outputting a redstone signal. You're no longer disconnected. You're allowed to run. And Bob's your uncle. I think that's what the cool kids say, right? So that should be some awesome automation to both conserve on EU and produce distilled water. So basically when this thing gets full enough, we'll see that guy shut himself down. And that can all be hidden behind the wall, and you can barely ever know that it's there. Neat, huh? Fully automated, pretty cool. One tiny nuance about the steam boiler. As you boil regular water, as in not distilled water, he's going to calcify. And that calcification number is going to grow. And eventually, he's going to be 100% calcified, and he won't be able to produce stuff anymore. The solution to this problem is extremely simple. You break and replace the machine. I tested a way to automatically do this, and it's totally possible to automatically break and replace the machine. The only problem is these values don't change when you automatically break and replace it. They go back to 0. So I could automatically break and replace it, but I'd still have to come in here, open the UI, and change this to 1 millibucket per tick, which is a bummer. So no automation around that part of things, unfortunately. So you should be getting pretty close to the point where you're going to say, I have enough water, then I'm going to turn off this EU splitter thing. And that'll save us 100 EU per tick output, among other things. So that's pretty spiffy. All right, let's clean up our inventory for a sec, because we have more to do now than we did a minute ago. So the other thing I want to make is a solid fluid canning machine. And for that, we're going to need 10 item casings and another electronic circuit, which doesn't look too bad, considering I have pretty much exactly that. Nice. All right, so fluid solid canning machine requires an electronic circuit. Done and done. I should have cooked up more. I did, of that. So that's cool. The only other thing we're going to need then is 4 pieces of tin, which I just put away, of course. Hammered up. Cool, in the rolling machine. So did you trigger yet? So you're getting there. 13,100. I don't know what value it's going to need to be at. I made it less than 100% full, is all I know. I basically wanted to shut him down before he got too close to 2 full. But soon, I would expect. So you're getting there. So the fluid solid canning machine will go right here. How am I for fluid conduits? Not terrible. I was gonna... Let's run you up here. See, I've got all that fanciness right there. I know it's not that fancy, but you know what I mean. That should be cool. I don't want that running just yet. Good. You, and you. Fluid solid canning machine. Check. It went boom. Fluid solid canning machine does not accept that level of power. It is not tier 2 power. Should have known that. Didn't know that. Should have known that. Gonna need a transformer for that. Let's get more copper cabling laying around. No, why would I? That would be a smart thing to have on hand. Roll you into that guy. Gonna need another piece of glass too. Whoops. Dyer and his explosions. I always forget. Always forget. How are you? You probably lost power now, so you're not producing any more steam as it is. Until I reconnect this bad boy. There you go. Now you're producing steam again. Hooray! Well, at least you're heating up. Once you get reheated, you'll produce steam. So some heat will be lost when I flip off the power, and that's okay. Cool. So at what level are you full enough to trigger the redstone signal? That's my question. It's going to need to be a redstone signal of 2. So, because this is something I've run into in the past. There we go. It just triggered. Nice. So, right around 15 out of 16 buckets, which is perfect, because then that shuts this guy off and everything off, and that works. So let's get a transformer upgrade. This dude requires an electronic circuit, an MB transformer, that is all fine. So first we're going to need a transformer upgrade. Alright guys, so made myself some tin plates, which is cool. Macerated or sag mill gets you the lapis dust that we need. So now we should be in good shape. In fact, I've got a couple more of these to collect. Hey. There we go. 31? 31? I feel like I would have put the right number of stuff in there. Huh, that's funny. So we'll do this to that. And then we should be able to get some glass. That. Now I can get universal fluid cells. And I got my transformer upgrade in here. And we can throw this in, and it's working. You can see I tested it off camera real quick. Nice. So, fluid solid canning machine is working. Remember to set it to this mode in order for this to work. But keep in mind, this would have been 72 lapis, and instead it's 9. It is an 8x lapis savings. Totally worth doing if you don't have unlimited lapis, right? If you have more lapis than you have EU production, go ahead and use the lapis. Use it with just regular water. But if you have good EU production, like we did last episode, then we're in good shape. And that's pretty cool. Let's put away some stuff I don't need for a minute. I am going to want you, though, because the next thing I want to work towards having, I'm also going to want you, is start making my overclocker upgrades. So I'm grinding up these things. Let's combine you with some rubber. And we should be good to make overclockers now. So you're probably getting there. Nice. Coolant fluid cell. And then to get the 10Ks, it's just coolant around some tin plates. So I'm going to need even more tin plates. My goodness. But soon this shall not be a problem. You know what I could probably do to get 10 plates even faster? Hold on. Hold on to your horses. I do need a lot of plates. Remember, I can do that. And put this guy over here. I always forget about this fancy little block. That should work. Sweet. So you're gonna get there. Let's get 3 circuits. Let's get 6 circuits. Why not? You might have produced some plates by now, which is good. So you can now make this, which can then make that. So check out some 2 overclockers going on in here. Seems a little faster, doesn't it? Definitely faster. That is cool. And by the way, we get our universal empty cells back when we do that, which is great. So you should have a few more for me. So I should be able to do this. Cool. I'm gonna turn you into a block. Gonna use you to get more of these. And even faster now. Boom. That is cool. And then what I can do is come over here. Yeah, that should be cool. We'll sag mill this. Come back for him in a moment. You're coming along nicely. So I should be able to do you, you, and you. And that's cool. So now we can rapidly increase the production of this stuff, because all we got to do is throw this in there, and we'll start getting this even faster. And that's good, right? So that's pretty cool. Nice. Liking it already. So I'll just, you know, bounce around these overclockers for a bit, but see how much faster that is? That is awesome. Once I get 9 of these, I'll be good. Good and good. Nice. So now this can go into like here to speed up that. We'll need to give him more power if we want him to be able to go as fast as I want him to go, but eventually we'll get there with that. But for now, it's wrapping up point. It's probably well past wrapping up point. But we've got overclocking, which is great. We've probably got a decent amount of them for now. That'll hold me over for a bit. So for now, Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We will come back next time and hopefully make some really cool, neat new stuff. So now that we've got overclocking going on, we can ramp up the production of IC2 based stuff, and that'll be good for us because we're going to need to get into that a little bit more than we have been as of late. So yeah, we're gonna have more need for IC2 based things really pretty soon. I believe part of my goals for this age is to start getting a mass fabricator up and running, and for that we're probably really going to want nuclear reactors. So that may be in our future, as it were. So for now, Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. You know the deal. Take it easy.